What's going on, YouTube? Sorry about the shaky camera. I got my recording this on my laptop and I'm sitting at a table, so it's a little rocky. But if you can bear with me, I wanted to go over today my experience with Suntrust Bank. Now, being new to the area, I moved up from Florida to right here in Roanoke, and it's Roanoke, Virginia. Suntrust, I guess, is one of the biggest branches here locally as far as a bank to go with. So I said, well, I'll go ahead and go with them. They seem worthwhile. They do all right, I thought. But since I've been with them, I've acquired my disability check that I get from the service. I have severe obstructive sleep apnea, so it's not one of those people that don't work or anything. I'm actually a florist. I still go out and work and do what I can to contribute my part. And with that, the money I make, I'd like to make sure the money I have is dealt with in a very good way. I'm not getting $3, $4, $5 charges left and right. So after being with Suntrust since, I want to say around maybe April or May 2016, as of today, March 2nd, 2018, just a little under 2 years I've been with them, I decided to close my account. And I'm going to go over the reasons why. Initially, if you are looking to go to Suntrust, I can tell you when you do set up your account, you're going to end up going through quite a lengthy process. I originally did mine when I received my first disability check. So I went into Suntrust, I opened up an account, I wanted a savings and checking account. And the process took almost 2 hours. And I remember telling the woman there, I said, actually, I have to leave to go to work. Didn't think it would take this long. So that is something to look forward to if you decide to go with them. Again, all the stuff in this video, this is just my experience and things that I thought would be worthwhile for someone looking to bank with them. These are things I think that you should know. So the initial setup is going to take a while. Now, with banking nowadays, a lot of things are going direct deposit, things are going paperless, and in my case, receiving a check every month, I have tried about 5 or 6 different times to have my account receive that payment as a direct deposit. Now, on the VA side, the Veteran Administration side, they have received the information, the routing number, the account number, about 5 or 6 different times. I finally had to go down to a VA location, downtown Roanoke, and find out why, like I'll put it in, and then I wait for it to hit my account at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. Then on the 3rd, I get a check in the mail, and I say, well, it was supposed to go direct deposit. The 4, 5, 6 times I've done this, every time the VA has sent me a letter or given me a call saying that something weird just happened on Suntrust side, so the direct deposit process was not able to be completed. So when I explained that to the bank a couple different times, they just gave me another form, and I explained to them that it just keeps being an issue. And the reason why they brought that up was because of another issue where I said I didn't want to have overdraft. I didn't want my account to ever go negative, being that I don't want my account to authorize a payment. We'll say I have $5 and I have Netflix. So if Netflix goes to take their $10, I don't know what it is, I might have a grandfathered price with Netflix, but if they go to take the $10 and my bank says, well, there's only $5 here, I would rather Netflix not get paid, and then I get a notice from Netflix saying, until you pay, we can't let you use our service. Fine. Then when I have money, I'll go ahead and pay it. What I don't like to see is where the bank just says, go ahead, and then on the 28th, they take the $10, taking my account negative, and then when the first hits, they give me an extended overdraft fee. Their overdraft fee is $36, so That would bring me to negative 36 plus 5 for the other 5. So we're at negative 41 plus an extended overdraft fee of another 36. And I've filled out forms to tell them do not authorize payment. And as of today, when I explained that with one of the managers, they said they had no record of it. They asked me what location did I fill this form out on. And I told them right here, the same chair I sat in when I talked to them today was the same chair I filled that form out. So as far as their records and everything go, it's a little choppy. So just another red flag, something to keep your eyes out for. So that is why they brought direct deposit up. And as I explained to them, that was pretty much a no-go. Before I even had Suntrust, I actually had Navy Federal. And before that, I just had a Walmart money card. And that worked out so much better. I had a couple merchant accounts that I could just move my money to. I could go to any ATM. I had a merchant account that did not charge me ATM fees. I only paid whatever that specific ATM charged. So there's a few different ways you can get around without having to go to an actual bank. So the next thing I wanted to touch on was trying to cash a good check. So obviously, let's say your birthday comes and your dad, like my father, sent me a check. Now I know my dad's very good with his money, and I called him, hey, before I go cash this, do you have the amount in there? And he wrote me a check for $100, and he told me that at that time he had something like $495 in his account after he accounted the 100, so it would have been like 500 and something, right? But he already did his checkbook, so he knew that 100 was going to come out. So when I went to cash it, they charged me $36 because the check did not clear. They didn't tell me for 4 days, and actually the day I cashed it, it posted my account, and then 3 days later, it came out of my account. Now consider, if it hit my account, I say, cool, I have an extra 100. So I spent some money, so my account balance was down to 50 or so. 4 days later, they took $100 out, gave me an overdraft, gave me a bounce check fee, and for the whole process, I basically had to wait till I got my disability check to clear all of it up. This happened 2 months ago, and I even went through the whole process of calling my dad's bank, and they told me yes, money was there, there's nothing here. They said that the check had cleared, so I had to have them call my bank, and then my bank finally said, oh, we're sorry about that, and then they put the money back, but they still made me pay all the fees and stuff. So that was pretty disgusting. It basically came out to, after the check of $100, I basically walked with about $32. So that was a good birthday gift. Thank you, Dad. It was all it was all the sentiment, I guess. And then another one was they make rules up on the fly. So I've come in before and I tell them, I'd like to put so much in my checking, give me so much cash, put the rest in savings. And to give you an idea, like the checks I get, they're a couple $100. It's not much, but if I say put 50 in my checking, give me 100 cash, put whatever's left in savings, they would say, well, have you thought about maybe putting $100 in your checking? And I ask them, well, why would I? That's not what I want to do. And they're like, well, it would be a good idea. And then I ask them, well, why would it be a good idea? Is there a minimum balance I have to keep this account active? Is there a minimum I have to have so I don't accrue any fees? Well, no, but it would look good on your account. And I'm like, that's something that you think. That's not a policy. That's not how this account works. The account works by having at least $5. The specific account that I had to have $5 at least. That was it. And that was only for the end of the month. So I could have been at $2 all month, but as long as by the end of the month and it laps over, I have $5, I'm good, no fees. So I thought. But yeah, they like to come up with stuff on the fly. I've been to one location where they said, well, you're trying to cash a a $400 check, but you only have $200 in your account, so we're going to have to deposit the whole check. No, I have an account here, so you cash the check that I bring to you however I want it to be done. I have money in my account, but I'm not cashing a check that I wrote. I'm cashing a payroll check that somebody gave to me coming from a different account. Things they like to make up. I've actually even left there before and said, man, I guess they just let anybody work at a bank. Let's see. Go into overdraft. Oh yeah, so I've touched on that. If you go into overdraft, they want your whole check, and the whole overdraft thing should have never happened. If you go with them, I highly suggest that you don't let your account come anywhere below $100 to zero, because they'll try to find some type of fee or charge to bring you into zero and then pile you with overdrafts. Now, another thing with this bank, and I've heard a lot of banks do this. I've had 9 or 10 different banks in the last 4 or 5 years that I currently still have. I'm not a bank account bouncer. I don't go and I currently hold a few different accounts, and I try to maintain them. And if it's somewhere at a bank that I don't have a local place that I can go to get it, chances are I'm not going to touch that money. It's kind of my angle on it. But they have pretty ridiculous fees, so they don't really have too many ATMs local. They have 2 branches nearby that I know of. And in other words, if I want to go take money out of an ATM, I have to go to their ATM. If I go to a different ATM at like 7-Eleven, what they will do is I will pay the $2.50. At least that's what that charges at that ATM. Could be $3, could be $1.50. It's whatever that individual ATM charges. But Suntrust will also charge you for not using one of their ATMs. So if you want to take $20 out, you could be paying as much as $26 to get $20. And then they tell you with certain accounts, as long as you have $5, you don't have any fees or anything. I had this one particular account where I'd been saving for a couple IT certs, and I think I had a balance somewhere around $5,000. That's what the school cost, and I think it was somewhere right around there. Then I noticed, because I didn't touch that bank for a while, I went to one of my other merchant accounts, and I basically noticed that over a few months I had lost like $25. So I asked them about it, and they said, well, we have a monthly maintenance fee. I said, well, if I'm not touching the account, there's nothing that needs to be maintained. I'm not transferring. You guys aren't paying me interest, And they couldn't explain that. Then they said there was a monthly service fee. I said, well, I haven't touched my account in 3 months, so there was no service with that account, so I shouldn't be having to pay for that. And that was another thing. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Kevin Trudeau. He's a gentleman that seems to go a little out there about medical and about banking, and he writes books. He's a guy that's on TV at 2 a.m. trying to sell a book about how the credit industry works and all that. I have read one of his books, and he does have a good point when it comes to some things with money. As far as fees go, they can basically give you a fee for anything. Anybody can, really. Your cell phone company could put a fee on your bill that says the CEO decided to buy their kid a new pair of shoes, fee. And it seems ridiculous, but as far as I'm understanding, you can't argue anything with that because there's no way to battle a fee. But they can't tax you over only 26% or something. So like a credit card can have a high interest rate, and you could argue that down, but the fees that they give you, you can't argue. And it's the same with the bank. If you have a service fee, a maintenance fee, a monthly schedule fee, a researching fee, whatever they call it, you can't argue that. But they have them at Suntrust, and they're pretty bad. So ultimately what made me want to close my account today was I brought a $844 check to cash so I could put $500 in my checking to cover my overdraft. that I never authorized. They said they had to hold my whole check, and I said I wanted to do it today because another issue, when you put money in there, unless you put cash, if you put a check, they say that it will post. If you put it in there before noon, it will post after noon. Realistically, if you put it in before noon on the 2nd, you won't see that money till maybe after midnight on the 3rd, which is the 4th officially. I've had it where I put money in at 9:30 in the morning on a Friday, and I didn't see any of that money till after midnight on Monday going into Tuesday. So I didn't want to leave my money like that and part with it, because I did need some of that money to go get gas for my car, do some shopping for the weekend. So I told them I wanted to close my account, and I was going to go to another bank. And basically I told them I would go cash this check and bring the money back to close my account, or they could just cash my check and do what I asked them. So they said, well, we'll make a deal. If you decide to go with direct deposit, then we'll go ahead and maybe that would stop this issue. And I explained the issue with that. I basically had to tell the manager about 5 times, and I had to get pretty loud the 5th time and say, if you can't cash this check and close my account and give me the rest of the money today, as in right now, if you can't do this, then you cannot help me, and I will go somewhere else with my business. So eventually they finally came around. She wasn't too happy. But upon leaving, there was about 4 people in the bank that heard my story. And it's not because I was too loud. There's a lot of nosy people in Roanoke. But they decided to line up behind me to close their accounts. So she, I guess, did not have a great day. But I don't feel bad, because every time I've went into that bank, it has been a horrible experience. So I hope this gives you guys a little bit of insight as far as joining Suntrust. Now, I do know they have business accounts. They have many different accounts, money market accounts. A good friend of mine is actually the guy I live with, best bud. He has a few CDs that have accumulated a decent amount of money over many years. But in the last year and a half, they have not even moved a penny. And they said that, well, that's just because it's a very low interest rate. From what I understand, when you grab a CD, when you get a money market account, an IRA, a 401k, or Roth IRA, you get any type of investment accounts, they're usually supposed to hold a higher interest than what your savings account or your checking account would have. But the interest rate, with the amount of money that's in there, would basically have to be 0.00001%. And even then, there would still be some money in interest accrued. So there's just too much that they have going on. And anytime you ask for help, like I said, nobody has a straight answer. The manager asked me, who told you that? And I told her I got 3 different answers from all 3 of the women behind the counter. So, like I said, I hope this gives you some insight. This is just my experience. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have great experience with Suntrust. But if you're an individual that kind of uses your money similar to the way I do, which is beginning of the month, I put my money in the account, I keep some cash, I do purchase many items throughout the month on Amazon, I pay my insurance over the internet, my Netflix, I have a few different things that I do, and I'm not able to consistently maintain that without having to go to a different bank. So if you're in the same boat I am, I would recommend you go somewhere else other than Suntrust. So if there's any questions or comments you guys like to leave, go and just leave them down in the comment box below. If you enjoyed this video, I am going to be doing my best to continue making videos to help people out with regular consumer products and companies and services. So if you do like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.